3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Married into Crazy with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And as always, we welcome you back to the podcast. You could be listening in a variety of different ways, a lot of different people, but you've chosen to hang out with us and kind of be like our ride along. So that's good. What are you doing?
I don't know.
She's always, I swear, she's always doing something that's trying to throw me off. I don't know what, if that was chair dancing, what was that?
I don't know.
Just being goofy?
I was just being goofy.
That's okay. Sometimes you need a little goofy in the relationship.
Anyway, yeah.
Hey, but before we begin, what I'd like everybody to do is go over to wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast on Apple Podcast, or if you listen to it over on Spotify, go there and leave a review.
And put 5 on it.
And put 5 stars on it. Can you do that for us? Can you do that, please? Can you? So anyway, go ahead and do that. I know, I sound like I'm begging. Don't beg. You don't got to beg.
What's that song? There's a song about that, about begging. I don't remember. It's a Keith Sweat song, probably.
Every Keith Sweat song is about begging.
Does everyone sing that?
Why? Do it. It's always, he's always whining.
I'm gonna need you to not do that. Okay.
The face and all that. Hey, look.
He's always begging and whining. Silly.
He is. And it's like, oh man. And I don't apologize. Look, I'm not saying I'm sorry.
Anyway, first, let me say
I'm not sorry.
I just want to say, before we get into it, I want to do a little shout out. We got some shout outs to do. One, at least in particular, our oldest grandchild, Olena, started kindergarten today.
He's going to put her name out there to the world. Okay. Well,
anyway, we talk about them all the time. She started kindergarten today. Today was her first day of school, and she was super excited. We did not a Zoom call, but a FaceTime call with her after, we all got home, and she was super excited. I asked her, asking her questions. I said, "Did you make any friends?" She goes, "No, it was my first day." Like, she can't make friends on her first day of school. I'm like, clearly you are not your papa's granddaughter, because you would have made friends with the whole class already.
Oh, I would have owned that class by now.
I know. That's
first day. I'm owning it.
I'm like, yeah, she's my
glare.
grandchild. Huh?
You got major glare going on.
Oh, my glasses.
Hey, but one thing I
Are
was
you
going
talking about my face because I'm shiny?
Your glasses, babe.
I was about to say, don't shine me. Don't shame me.
Anyway, if you're watching YouTube and you're being blinded because of the glare of her glasses, it's because she's not wearing contacts. But I'm just going to say, hey, whatever.
That's kind of hurtful, but okay.
I'd like to keep it moving. But I will say this. So even though
I like your attitude right now. You owe me an apology.
Nope. Look, I do want to say this, though. Even though trust me, there is a podcast. We're getting to it.
Oh, my goodness. It's literally been 2 minutes.
But what we want to do is we have 2 granddaughters and a grandson. But our other granddaughter that did not start school, the first thing she said was, "I'm too little. I could not go today." I was like, "No, we know, babe. You're going to get to go someday." And so we're asking the older granddaughter, like, "How'd your day go?" So everything that Snooks just said. And then the little one, you can hear her chime in. You hear this voice. "Tell them about me." What about me? Tell them something I did. Tell them about me. And we started laughing because she cannot be not included.
You see her head, so you see Olena's face, and then you see the other one behind her trying to poke her head in and look. I'm like, this girl.
Tell her about me.
Oh my goodness. Hilarious. It was funny. It was super funny. But
it's just like me and Snooks. She'd be trying to talk about stuff, and I'd be like, "Well, tell them about me. Tell them what I did."
He interrupts me all of the time
because she's always making a point to say, "Hey, I cooked, I cleaned, all that." I'm like, you know what? Tell them about me. You cooked, I ate. You cleaned because I dirtied it up. You washed, and guess what? I wore it.
I was about to say.
That's the yin and
You said,
yang of
yeah,
marriage.
you are absolutely correct.
That is the yin and yang. You know, that's probably another podcast.
You are absolutely correct. Yes.
But what's funny,
So-
we're talking about apologies. Well, actually, I got into a conversation with someone. What's today? So
2 days
about
ago.
2 days ago, I talked to someone, and the conversation, the gist of the conversation revolved. And this was not coaching. It's none of our
Okay, my
clients,
glasses off, so
but
I'll
it
get glare.
revolved around, trying to have a breakthrough with their spouse and talking about, we never seem to be on the same page. And a pivotal book for us when we were going through our change in year 4 was Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages. And so I asked them, so are you familiar with the 5 love languages? And they weren't. And there's several kinds. So now there's when we read it, it was like the 5 love languages, period.
That was it.
But then there's 5 love languages for the wife, 5 love languages for the husband, which for some reason my mother-in-law bought me a copy of that. I have 2 copies of the 5 love languages.
Because you didn't pay attention well enough in the
She's
first
like,
one.
you didn't listen to the regular one. So the generic one's not getting through. Let me give you the one that's made
She's
just
like,
for the husbands.
I'm not liking the changes I'm seeing. No.
No, but there's the 5 love languages for children, dealing with your kids as well. And so we talked about that, and they really liked it. So they're going to go out and buy that book. But it made me really think that one thing that Snooks and I are really big on is forgiveness. We had talked about forgiveness in December. Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of heading into 2021, that I think it was something along the lines of forgiveness can be your superpower. But one of the challenges with being forgiving or having your being forgiven, a part of that is apologizing. Because if you've done something wrong or you've been slighted or whatever, there's a process by which you can be forgiven. And a part of that begins with a very sincere apology or acknowledgement that something happened.
Okay. And that's very true. So I'm just going to kind of jump in right here. That's very true that it begins with the apology. But one thing that we realize is that everyone, I think everyone knows this. It's like what you hear all the time is not necessarily what's been said. And what's been said is not, you're like, no, I said this. You're like, no, you didn't. Well, I apologize for, no, you didn't. So I didn't hear an apology. I heard an explanation, or I heard.
Why are you talking about me?
What? No, I'm just saying, because you yourself know that we've had in some of our coaching, we've dealt with couples that explicitly talked about how they differ when I apologize and no, you didn't apologize. And well, you didn't accept my apology. Well, because you didn't apologize. And so
it's like you didn't apologize for the right thing. You apologized for something that I didn't even know what you was talking about.
right.
We've been there. If you haven't already noticed.
So there in this one thing that we learned a little bit ago is about the differences in apologies.
True.
And so Lovey we kind of talked about this before, and there was actually an apology quiz.
Okay, can I give a shout out right now real quick?
Oh, yes, you can.
All right, I got to give a shout out to billionaire Ben Bakayoko. And I probably just slaughtered your last name, Ben.
Like, okay.
I used to know it, but anyway, no, Ben is a gentleman that is like just a scholar when it comes to, he's also a marriage coach and works with relationships. But Ben brought this book to our men's group a long time ago, last year sometime. And I thought it was really interesting. So that's when we give a shout out to Ben. Thank you so much for introducing me to this book last year. But go ahead, Snooks.
Oh no, I just was saying about you did the apology quiz or whatever. So one thing that I learned was I should say both of us learned about their different apology languages. Mm-hmm. Were you gonna go into that?
No,
or
go ahead.
Am I jumping?
Jump.
Okay. No. So there are different apology languages. And it's kind of funny because the same with when I kind of looked at it, it's like how the disc is, how we utilize the disc when we're talking about how we communicate, your preference of how you retain information and whatnot. There's we have preferences, basically about the way that we receive and that we receive apologies.
But you can't receive it unless it's truly meaningful.
Well, okay, so but if I think I'm giving you an apology and to me it's meaningful, you didn't receive it as being meaningful. That means I mean, I don't know how to say, well, I'm not speaking your apology language, but I'm not speaking your apology language,
That's exactly
basically.
right. I mean, that's one of those things where there's 5 different ones that
Mhm.
we're going to dive into. We're going to discuss them. We're actually going to read what some of these are.
Okay, so then
And we have go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
She's excited because up
That's
until
why.
right now, we've never seen each other's apology languages.
Right. Exactly. So he took one, I took one, and we didn't
This was going to be a topic of discussion last year. So we were holding off on actually sharing our apology languages because we're going to talk about it
super
live
funny.
on the podcast.
Mhm.
And then I ain't gonna lie, life happened, things got in the way, and
I think it was right.
we kind of
we
we
were
got
in the
shuffled into
middle
a
of COVID.
file and folder. We forgot about it, moved on to other topics, what have you. And we just kind of came across them again, like, oh, we never did talk about this.
Mhm.
So we kind of dusted them off, and now
Yeah.
we're going to talk about them before you.
He
And
had his, I had mine upstairs in the folder because if I left it down here, I felt like Lovey would be looking at it
I would have
and
thrown it
trying
away.
to, okay. And
No,
then
just
you would have
because
had
we've
to
been
apologize. No, you can't have thrown it away because it clearly states what it is. It's not just blank
True.
paper.
If it was
He
shuffled,
just
in
be
with
trying to
something
throw
else.
stuff away. Anyway, I'm not even gonna go into that.
So there's 5
Mhm.
apology languages. Well, first off, the name of the book itself is When Sorry Isn't Enough. And so within the book, I mean, we should be getting a royalty for this, but anyway, you're very welcome, Mr. Gary Chapman and Jennifer Thomas.
There's another person, Jennifer.
No, but there's a lot of value here. And I believe that when we discover these things, we should share them. But that's the name of the book. And so there's 5 different apology languages, and we're going to go through each one of them. The first one is, and when you take the quiz, there's a quiz inside the book. I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but there's a quiz inside the book. It's a free quiz, and when you take the quiz, you're able to find out what your 5
Mhm.
apology languages are and how they rank as far as the apology language that works best for you.
Mhm.
And just like before, just like we did the 5 love languages, you have your top 1 or 2 that you probably deal with or you gravitate towards. Doesn't mean you don't. The other ones don't appeal to you, but maybe not as much. Well, this gives a breakdown of percentages that are most relevant to you and how you need an apology to be rendered to you,
so that you feel heard, so that you most feel heard. You know, when your spouse is trying to, or your partner or whomever is trying to make amends. You know, just like you talked about the 5 love languages. When you're not speaking my love language and you're thinking you're doing a great job,
I'm doing an
I mean,
awesome
like,
job speaking my love language
Yeah,
and filling you up. Meanwhile, there's dishes that need to be put away and whatever, and you need acts of service. And I'm like, not my language.
exactly.
Come here, getting big, girl. Come speak my language with me.
I don't want to do that service.
Oh man. Okay,
I'm
so
just saying,
getting back to the
anyway.
5 apology languages.
Yeah,
So the very first one is expressing. I won't say the first one,
right.
but the one we're going to talk about is expressing regret.
And that, which happens to be my
What
top
Oh, it is.
yeah, my top language out of the 5 is expressing regret. I'm at 30% on that.
So okay, let's do this. That's your highest, so I'm going to read it.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says that I'm going to see if I agree with this. This apology language focuses on the emotional hurt you've experienced from the other person's actions or behavior. Focusing on emotional hurt means that hearing a genuine "I'm sorry" goes a very long way for you. When someone's expressing regret, you feel, and this is bolded, you feel that they are expressing the guilt and shame they feel for hurting you or causing you pain. This is definitely you. You are not looking for the next step. Oh, this is so you. You are not looking for the next step and how to fix the problem. You're looking for the person who's hurt you to own the emotional hurt that they've caused.
You agree with that?
Oh, I so agree with that. Especially the part about you're not looking for the next step and how to fix the problem. Not that you don't want to solve the problem. It's more about, I just need you to heartfully, wholeheartedly express your remorse in whatever it is you did to hurt me.
Well, I need you to be sincere. And I feel like, okay, so a long time ago when we were going through our stuff, years 1 through 4, I had a conversation with someone in your family, and we kind of talked about, we touched upon some of the things that were wrong.
Okay.
And that was one of the things. It's funny because when you said that very specifically, I'm not looking for the next step. I couldn't get past how we move forward. I mean, I couldn't even get to how, well, let's move forward, because the person did not express, not even, I guess it's expressing regret, but I didn't feel like it was sincere.
They didn't take ownership of their.
I'm like, what the heck? What, you want to just brush by? We're not brushing by that.
Okay. Yeah,
and I
yeah,
wasn't
I'm
looking
sorry.
for kind of like that. Yeah. Or in giving me, okay, anyway. But yeah, I was like, no, is there something wrong with me? Maybe I don't know how to accept an apology, but I did not feel like it was real because you didn't address or you didn't express it.
It's like you're trying to move past it too quickly without really.
Yeah, I felt like, like,
So-
okay, shoot.
So what did you say? That was your number one, right?
So
that was your 30%.
I'm 30% on that one.
So-
So what are you on that?
And we're talking about expressing regret.
Expressing regret.
That is my second to lowest, which is 15%. That's my 15%.
And
Okay.
so now we know why there was a problem.
Right. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
So the next one is,
Whoa, can we go to your highest one?
oh, you want to go to my highest one?
Yeah, I want to go to your highest one. What is
Okay.
yours?
So my highest one is genuinely repent.
Okay, genuinely repent.
That's 40% for me.
That's 40. Okay, so your highest is 40%. My highest is 30%.
Okay,
I'm
but
looking
what's yours?
at it like,
What's yours for genuinely repent though?
it's
It's your lowest. It's your 5%
wow, 5%. Okay,
versus
so,
my 40. Ooh. Okay.
Okay, genuinely repent. This apology language focuses on how the person apologizing will modify will modify their behavior in future similar situations. Not only is there a genuine apology for the pain caused, but also verbalization for the desire to change.
Mhm.
Wow. Genuinely repenting takes an extra step towards change, as bolded. You need to hear the person express they want to change and set realistic goals for how they will make those
Come on.
changes. Okay, let me finish. Unlike expressing regret, you are looking for that next step and how your partner will ensure this does not happen again.
Okay.
Oh my Lord, today.
Listen,
This is a Lovey to a T. And it's so funny because it says, unlike expressing regret, you are looking for the next step. Let me tell y'all right now, we cannot move.
I get that you're sorry, but let's
But
talk about.
oh God.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Woo.
But what's so funny though is I didn't catch this. We read this just a little bit earlier today, that we're the exact opposites, because I didn't catch that before. Like, unlike expressing regret is your number one.
Yeah, expressing
We're
regret is my
opposite
number
ends of the
one.
spectrum when
What
it
is
comes
your
to
number?
genuinely repent.
And
That
that's
you just read.
my
and
last one.
And it specifically states, unlike expressing regret,
That
which
is
means
polar.
we're polar
Yeah,
opposites when it
that's
comes to the way
almost-
we apologize.
That's almost like, well, I won't say how we are
Like
with
our
our
disc.
disc. Yeah,
I'm a high D, you're a high C, and that creates
very
challenges.
task oriented, but the difference in how we go about doing it. Wow. Okay,
Come on with the
that's-
knowledge.
Huh?
Come on with the knowledge,
Hey,
girl.
I be doing
That
stuff.
is so funny though. So that's 40% for me.
That is really funny. Okay, so my next highest is accepting responsibility. What's your next highest? Well, no, okay. I'll do my next highest first.
Go ahead.
Accepting responsibility, which is 25%.
Okay, so I'll read that. So
What-
accepting responsibility. Well, for me, that is my number 3, which is 15%. Accepting responsibility. This apology language requires the person apologizing to admit they were wrong and accept responsibility for their wrongdoing.
Mhm.
This can be difficult for us to do, as it is challenging to admit your mistakes, especially if those mistakes have caused pain to someone else. However, if this is your apology language, you are looking for a Now, this is bolded. You're looking for a genuine apology that accepts responsibility and does not attempt to make excuses or justifications. For an apology to feel genuine, you need the other person to simply say, I am wrong without further explanation.
It's so funny because that falls into where, like previously, when I was saying the family member that I had the conversation with, it was like I I, I felt like when you brush past it, like, okay, let's move past it. You didn't express any regret. And for me, that's not accepting any responsibility. And that was why the relationship never, for myself, in my own, I felt like it can never go further because there was no, you didn't accept any responsibility in any of the pain that happened. So
Well,
yeah,
it's
that
funny.
makes sense. I mean,
Well, where it says that, for it to be genuine to you, that you need the person just to say, I'm sorry, and that's it without explanation. And I have a tendency to be like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. And this is what I'm going to do in order to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And you're like, I'm not hearing all that. I just need you to say it. And
I don't want to lecture
I'm like, no, I need to give you the steps that we're going to take to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Which
because
is
that's what you require.
right.
That's what you
for me to
require.
feel as if my apology is genuine. And I think some of the challenges that we need to not just be aware of these different apology languages and of course aware of how we like it to be, but we need to be aware of what the other person needs.
Oh yeah, I mean, because
Now that I know that I need to read yours a little bit closer. Now that I know that we are absolutely opposite.
so mine, that was 25. You said yours was 15.
15. So it's still relatively in the same ballpark. I mean,
It's 10% less.
I still
That's a
accept
pass.
that.
That's a
part of it.
failing grade.
You know what?
Okay, what's your next highest?
Okay, so my next highest is request forgiveness.
Oh, request forgiveness.
Where's that fall for you? You're number 3, but it's the same amount. It's 20% for me and 20% for you.
Oh, okay.
So read that.
So yes, sir. Anyway, request forgiveness. This apology language is all about asking for forgiveness and giving your partner space to decide if they forgive you. This is your love language. If this is your love language, it is meaningful to you, to your partner, to actually ask for your forgiveness. Requesting forgiveness is much different than demanding forgiveness. The key is requesting forgiveness. The key to requesting forgiveness is to allow the hurt partner to make the final decision rather than force it upon them. By demanding forgiveness, you are taking away the sincerity. If forgiveness is, I'm sorry, by demanding forgiveness, you are taking away the sincerity if forgiveness is given.
I don't know if I agree with this as my second.
I think that needs to be a little bit low because you can't take all day to say if we're gonna forgive you or not. I ain't about to be waiting on no whole week.
But this is saying, like, if this is my love language, which is like it says it's my second highest, it's meaningful to me for my partner to actually ask. So I need you to ask for my forgiveness.
I think that's true though.
You do?
I think that's
Really?
true. I'm trying to think of some scenarios, or not even scenarios, but situations where
Well, I just thought of something. It didn't involve you, but it involved our children, where I don't need you to be correct. I just need to feel the sincerity of your apology and the respect that I just need you to say I'm sorry. And I want you to forgive me, and I want you to understand that I know that I did wrong. I feel that more when it comes to our kids, particularly our son.
yeah, especially him.
Just in his formative years when he was growing up.
Well, no, I mean, just because of you don't see him all the time, and so it's like when he calls you and he reaches out, that's him saying, asking for forgiveness or whatever. The girls are different because of, how they are, as far as like you see them and you're around them all the time. So it's easier for them to come to you and be like, hey, Dad, okay, I'm sorry for whatever. I don't know if they do that though. Do they?
No, they don't. Especially the youngest one. She definitely doesn't. But there's something to that, because when our son called a few months back, just out of the blue, and apologized for, he didn't have to, but he apologized for some of the stuff that we went through when he was younger, when he was rebelling. heavily. And he didn't necessarily ask for forgiveness, but his apology was sincere. And so I don't know. I think that in a way it was requesting. He's like, I get it. He's like, and he gave. I'm not going to go into our conversation, but he just really said that I received that, and in his own way, it was like he was asking for forgiveness in his own way. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I think you even do that with. I mean, it means more to you if I come to you and I ask you if I tell you I'm sorry. And I don't necessarily say, will you forgive me? But it's almost like when I tell you I'm sorry, you it there's a relief. I always feel like you feel like, okay, you are sincere or whatever, even when you're like, you don't have to apologize or whatever. And I'm like, no, I know I was wrong for what I did or what I said. It gives you some type of, I can't explain it, but your body language does change. And I just come out, hug you, and I say, I'm sorry. And I don't think I've ever said, will you forgive me?
No, you didn't.
I'll start saying it.
Ever.
I'll start saying it.
No, I see you coming to me with an action plan with 5 steps on how you're going to make sure.
Y'all, he is not playing. He is not playing. Oh,
but okay. So how does this, so what do we do with this? Right. Just like 5 love languages, just because you read a book, they talk about, knowledge is power. I don't believe that. It's not that knowledge is power. It's applied knowledge. So just because you read a book and you learn that there's these 5 languages that exist when it comes to apologies or just love languages and knowing how people need to express themselves, how do you apply that to your relationships on a daily basis to ensure a higher level of success in your relationship?
Are you asking that question?
That's a kind of a rhetorical question, but it's one of those things where, how do we do that?
Well, I mean, I feel like understanding what your partner needs will help you in communicating.
Agreed.
So if I understand what it is that you actually need, that will cut out so much of the confusion and we won't have the back and forth. Like, I already told you I'm sorry. I mean, I'll use as an example, our girls. One apologizes the way she apologizes, the other doesn't accept it because to her it's not real. And vice versa. And I'm like, I'm totally out of it. But I'm like, I heard the apology. So why are you not? Well, because she didn't say, this, that, or whatever. And then the 2 weeks later, it's the other person saying, because if you meant it, you would have said blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay.
And that's the absolute truth. And the same thing happens in our relationship.
Well, that's why I was trying to go. I know what it is that my partner needs to feel like this is genuine and we could actually move past it.
So here's a question for you. Which one do you think is more difficult?
Learning
your partner's love language and learning how to speak their love language, or learning your partner's apology language and speaking their apology language?
I'm going to go with apology. I just feel like sometimes it's hard for people it's okay. So for myself, if I'm trying to do something good, it's easier to do something good. But if I'm trying to apologize and say, I'm sorry for something that I did wrong, I feel like that might be harder. Number one, I did something wrong. Depending on where my headspace is, I might come at you with an explanation or a reason why or whatever.
But see, therein lies the problem, because if you come at me with an explanation or whatever, like if I did that, you would not want to hear that, because
that's why I'm saying that it's harder. I feel like the apology language is harder because it makes you get outside of yourself, even if just like so does the love languages. Yours is affection, mine is acts of service. But I feel like it's easier. That's just easier. It's more. I don't know. That's just for me. I just feel like it's easier. I can't probably explain it with some intelligence.
No, I 100% agree. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like it says in the preamble or in the very beginning of this, is that first and foremost, that means you have to accept that you did something wrong. Mm-hmm. You're admitting that you were wrong, that you did something incorrectly, or you caused harm to someone else. And in doing that, it just raises the level of accountability.
Yeah.
And it's not even about accountability with the person that you love, that you've hurt for whatever reason, even if it was just in passing or accidentally, but it's a higher level of accountability to yourself. Because once you know these and you know your apology language and you know what yours is, you know what your spouse's is,
Mm-hmm.
well, that accountability now rests upon you to say, oh, I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
B, I can't apologize the way that I want to apologize. I need
Mm-hmm.
to apologize to make sure that she knows or he knows
Mm-hmm.
that I'm sincere.
Yeah.
And it might go against
Everything
as far as how I would want the apology to come to me. Because like you said earlier, that's the argument, right? The old argument that always pops up is, well, yeah, you apologize. Yeah, you apologize, but I didn't feel it. It wasn't sincere.
Yeah.
And it's not. And then the argument just escalates. The conflict gets
Mhm.
higher and higher and higher because
And now we're going to argue
I'm
about how I
sincere
apologize.
in my
Yeah.
apology.
Yeah.
I really am sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not feeling it because I'm not apologizing the way that you need the apology to be given to me.
I
Because
don't
then I'm
feel
like, well,
yeah.
that's fake. That's not how, that's not what I meant. And,
Exactly.
but it's not about what you meant. It is what you meant. You just need to learn how to deliver it in a way in which it's accepting and pleasing to the person that you're apologizing to.
I agree.
And that leads us to
Well,
the why in crazy. If you think about what crazy stands for, being compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding, that's a yielding factor.
mm-hmm.
That's another way to yield in your relationship. And remember, you're not yielding to each other. You're yielding to your marriage. You're yielding to your relationship.
Well, it's so funny because that's like a big thing, you know.
Yielding.
It's like, yeah, like if I yield, I lose the power, you know. I don't want to lose the power. And some of us were hung up on, if I relinquish this power, that means that you're just going to trample all, you know, and it shouldn't be that. It should be, like you said, we're yielding to each other. We're yielding to this relationship. For us, we yield to the word of God first, and then, you know, he's covering all of it, all of us, all of our actions or whatever, this whole relationship. But also, I challenge people to seriously think about the relationship that you're in. You have to learn how to be able to grow. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like, I'm in this relationship with this person who I said I'm going to love forever, and if I'm so uncomfortable, forever, if I'm so uncomfortable, the idea of me yielding to this person makes me that uncomfortable, what does it really say about your relationship? You know, because in the beginning, I've said it before, you know, I wasn't raised to be a wife. I didn't know anything about
Amen.
being being a partner or whatever. My mom taught me to stand on my own 2 feet. You take care of yourself. You don't rely on anyone, blah, blah, blah. And that is how I was groomed. And that's how I grew up. So when we got married, and then I was like, wait, what? What do you mean head of household or whatever it is, you know? I had a problem with that.
She argued with the tax guy, talking about the IRS. What exactly do you mean when it says claiming head of household? I need to understand that, Mr. IRS, Mr. CPA. Explain that to me. And how come there ain't no women in your firm? No.
You are silly. We did skip one though, babe.
Did we? Which one did we skip?
Making restitution.
Oh, well, that's because it doesn't exist on mine.
It doesn't?
It's my lowest.
I thought your lowest.
No, my lowest is make restitution.
Oh, I thought your
we
lowest
did forget
was,
that. I'm sorry.
Mine was the other of mine. Is your other.
It says it's the lowest, but I just said that we're just the opposite when it comes to that.
Got you.
The way it was verbalized was that, unlike expressing regret.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so making restitution. Mine is 20%. It's my number 4.
And mine's 10%. It's my lowest.
Okay, so Lovey don't like
okay,
to make
I'm gonna read this
restitution.
one. You
Okay.
read the last 2.
Oh,
So
did
you did.
I?
You took over.
My bad.
No.
Whatever.
The apology this particular apology language requires justification or explanation for the person's wrongdoing. If this is your apology language, you want to hear from your partner that they still love you, even after feeling hurt. There are many ways to make restitution, especially if we look at the love languages. the 5 love languages. Um, to feel loved after an apology, your partner must meet your love language to make restitution. Essentially, you're looking for assurance that your partner still cares and is. Why do you keep looking at me like
I'm
that?
just looking at you. Why are you feeling guilty?
Essentially, you're looking for assurance that your partner still cares and is attempting to assure you by meeting your needs in the ways that are most important to you. She keeps looking at me because I'm like, for me, restitution is like,
Restitution doesn't work for cheap people.
cheap people?
Lovey, you are a cheapskate.
What do you mean?
You don't want to go buy nothing.
How does that have to do with your love language?
Restitution?
What's that got to do with your? What does that got to do with your love language?
Acts of service.
Acts
Go
of
shopping.
No, acts of service. You want me to clean the shower?
I want you to go shopping.
That is not one of
That's
the 5
a
love languages.
service.
That is not an act of service.
Act of service. Open your wallet.
Mr. Gary Chapman did not say that going to the mall is a love language.
Acts of service. That's a service.
Let's get back to the 5 ways. I need a detailed account of how you need to apologize to me for even just. No,
Oh my
just
gosh.
But look, I hope you guys are getting something out of this, because there's no one way for you to seek forgiveness. There's no one way for an individual to apologize.
Right.
There's multiple love languages. There's a variety of things. So this thing that we call marriage, that we've been delving for the last 156 weeks plus, because there's several weeks we didn't number, but 156 weeks plus, every single week, talking about how we take our marriage to the next level, how we cohabitate better, how we become partners in this love thing, how we make sure that we're really lifting the sanctity and the covenant of marriage. And one of them is learning how to say, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to revisit this down the road. We would really love to hear your thoughts on the apology languages. Leave a review for us, please, on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, or wherever you listen. If it allows you to leave a review and some comments, leave the review, the comments, email us at coaching@marriedintocrazy.com, or you can email us at snooksandlovey@gmail.com, or you can just send us money. No, just playing.
I was like, where are you going with this?
No, but definitely reach out. We want to engage and have this conversation ongoing about how we take our relationships to the next level. What are your thoughts on, and we didn't write this, so if you're mad about it, write Gary Chapman. But
I know that's right.
if you have some ideas on the apology languages, we'd love to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know your thoughts. Shoot us a message. Again, that's at coaching@marriedintocrazy.com or snooksandlovey@gmail.com. And speaking of coaching, don't forget that you can go to marriedintocrazy.com, go to the coaching page, and just sign up for a discovery call. It's a 15 to 30-minute call where we just talk. We chop it up. It's couple to couple. We talk to you. If you're an individual, it's us talking with you. But if you're a couple, it's another couple chatting with you, talking about, how we might be able to assist you in your needs. It's not about us pushing crazy on you. It's about us making sure that we could be of service and learning how we can be of service to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if what we're saying on a weekly basis is resonating with you, and you think that, I want to see if maybe this might be that, it's not about having a bad relationship or, that something horrible happened. It's just like we've always talked about, that tune-up. It might be that, everything's running fine, but I like to take it in, have somebody look underneath the hood, and maybe help us get to the next level. Maybe we can soup it up. Maybe we can, get this thing firing on all cylinders, or a higher level. That's what it comes down to. So what we are not doing, which we've done for 155 weeks, was the I can at the very end of the podcast. We've been doing it for a very long time. And so what we've done is we're making some changes. We talked about some changes coming up. We are only doing the I can every Monday, like we did this morning. And we're calling it the Marriage
Monday.
Yeah, it's Married Monday Accountability. It's like MMA.
I was about to say that it's MMA.
A different kind of MMA. We're not grappling with each other. What we are doing, though, is
we might be
creating a marriage accountability, but we're doing it specifically for our Iron Tribe. And the Iron Tribe, the marriage community, can be found on Facebook. It's open to all married couples. It's, it's an open thing, man. We just ask that you're very respectful and understand that everybody's on a different path when it comes to their marriage, or they're at different levels, or their walk is different from yours. But all we're doing is creating a community to where we can come together and lift up the covenant of marriage, be very respectful of everyone's ideas and their path. And if you want to go check out the video this morning, we pulled 2 specific items that need to be done this week. And we're going to check in again Saturday with our Iron Tribe community.
Yeah, one's Team Lovey, one's Team Snooks. So
Yep.
I pick one for Team Snooks, and Lovey picks one for Team Lovey.
Yep, exactly. You can do both. You can do one. We prefer that you not do none. Pick something, and run with it. It's the little things that make a difference in our marriages. And you can get your one thing, whether it's Team Snooks or Team Lovey or both of us. And we'll check in Saturday morning as well, just to see how you're doing. But again, go to your Facebook, if you're on Facebook, and look up Iron Tribe, the marriage community. There might be several different Iron Tribes coming, but look for Iron Tribe dash the marriage community and go ahead and join. We look forward to talking to you again next week. And until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.